What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast Happy Hour Hoops presented by Train Wreck Sports. We are at the point of the NBA offseason where we've had Media Day. We saw the new faces and new places. We were surprised. We saw Kawhi sounding guilty as all hell at that podium while getting asked by reporters questions on the Pablo Torre story. So interesting stuff, guys. What was your guys' biggest takeaway from Media Day?
This is personal bias. I might be back in on the Mavs. I might be all the way back in on watching each game. I mean, Kyrie's doing some basketball activities, flags there. The boys are just the chemistry looks there. Obviously, my heart is Luka, and it's still hard. I still don't want to talk about
Lively
that
grew
trade.
2 inches.
Lively 7-3 now. He's working on his outside shot. I mean, this Mavs team, man, I love the roster. After seeing Media Day and just kind of you know how you can just feel a team that just kind of has that chemistry that wants to play for one another. It just felt like that with this Mavs team. It's going to be tough, but we might. Last year, you go through stages of grief, Dunny. Right? You have your denial, you have your anger, you have your acceptance, and maybe I'm ready. Maybe I'm ready to go back out there again. Maybe I'm ready to go back out there, and this Mavs team kind of brought me back in because I was so heartbroken last year. I just didn't want to believe it. I tried to watch games. It didn't hit the same way. The draft brought me back a little bit. Rigging the lottery brought me back a little bit. But Media Day, now I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this season. I think this team's going to compete. I'm back. I'm back in. I'm all the way back in. They pulled me right back in, and I didn't think they'd do it this quickly. I thought it'd take at least a couple weeks into the season, but Media Day got me.
Just when Steve thought he was out, they pulled him back in. Jake, what was your biggest takeaway from Media Day?
Media Day is it's such a weird day now. I thought it was very funny that Dalton Connect was surprised at how old LeBron is. Like that's just two different generations. He's like, damn. I think that's what it was. Damn. Like it's a tough look. I think that the Lakers Media Day was extremely interesting because LeBron then didn't practice afterwards and went to Kai Cenat's marathon stream, which was his real Media Day. And just hearing. It's just funny hearing them kind of do. They have their own weird propaganda and PR and the way they talk about their team and their things. So that was crazy. You have it in here though about Kawhi.
Yeah. So Kawhi,
that was the biggest thing for me.
Obviously at the Clippers podium, obviously going to get asked about the fake tree company, the no-show jobs. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock as an NBA fan, you know what I'm talking about. Just, kind of ask. He said there was no wrongdoings from the Clippers. There was no wrongdoings from himself. He mentioned that the company had owed him money separate from, any basketball activities. He said the NBA is just doing their job by investigating, which was a smart answer from Kawhi. I thought like he was welcoming the NBA's investigation, like trying not to seem shook at all. And we kind of alluded to this. We might have been kidding, but we said Kawhi is kind of the worst and best guy for this to happen to because of his demeanor, and he's always just the same monotone, doesn't really show much emotion, and that kind of favors him in these types of situations. The most interesting part was Ramona Shelburne asked Kawhi questions at Media Day, and then claimed that a Clippers PR person put their hand on her microphone and pushed her hand down, like pretty much saying, without saying, like, stop asking Kawhi questions. So, a respected reporter, she was going on podcast I saw today talking about this pretty like just fishy stuff going on here. Obviously, this story is raising eyebrows anyway, but it doesn't seem to be getting better despite what Kawhi Leonard was saying.
No, I don't, and he's not built for this. He's not built talking through these situations. So
That's what I mean. Like, it works at the beginning, but
yeah,
like follow-up questions are coming.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they're not gonna stop like anytime soon. So
Right.
it's yeah, it's gonna be weird and for the Clippers. Like just this whole year is gonna be weird. The roster's weird. This whole situation's weird. Who knows when this investigation? It's not like we have a timeline on when this investigation's supposed to end or when. Like you would think they'd want it done before the season, right? But I mean,
That seems
just a
very
wild,
unlikely at this point.
yeah, just a wild turn of events for them. Shout
Yeah,
out the
and
wall though.
yeah. Maybe Kawhi can hide behind that while the reporters ask questions. But yeah, some silly stuff still going on with Kawhi Leonard. I too don't think it will get hashed out before the season starts. People saying that Kawhi's looked the best he has in years, which is funny that we get a lot of that at media day too. Older guys or guys coming off an injury, they've never felt better, they've never looked better. A lot of that going around at media day. Kevin Love's on the Jazz. Just
Yeah.
a note in case anyone was keeping tabs on that.
I did
And my
forget
only
that.
other two things, I was actually most surprised by the Los Angeles Lakers for two reasons. I had kind of forgot that DeAndre Ayton landed there, and I was like, oh shit, they have a center this year. And then I was like, I saw Marcus Smart in Lakers threads, and that was just enough
Oh.
to fucking piss me off, man. I was already trying to deal with, Kristaps being in a Hawks uniform, Drew meeting up with Robert Williams, which they never played together, but two great Celtics in my eyes being on the Trailblazers together. And the worst of it all, man, this Al Horford to the fucking Warriors shit
Yeah.
is just,
That's a
Al
tough
moving
one.
on was fine, but like the
Right.
fact that he said this was the only place that I would have left Boston for, and I was never contemplating retiring, the fact that the deal was 2 for 12 and fucking Boston couldn't match that, and maybe we did, and maybe he chose Golden State, like
Right.
all these things are just tough to deal with. And going off that, this was my favorite stat from Media Day. Warriors will be starting 4 players over the age of 35 on opening night.
Yes.
And
That usually works out.
yeah, the fact that this stat said opening night, like they wanted to clarify that because 2 weeks from then that could be a completely different lineup. But Horford, Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy Butler for those curious. Anyway, that was Media Day. Do you guys have anything else for Media Day? I love we get everything for Media Day. A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
No, I don't think I have anything. It was just kind of that. I feel like media day is the kind of first thing. Okay, basketball is going to be back soon. We kind of
Yeah.
see everyone in the new threads and everything, and that's where the hype starts to build.
Oh,
So I
did you
can't
see
wait.
Chris Paul? Like Chris Paul looks like he looked like
Dude,
a
it's
cosplayer of
sad,
Chris
man.
Paul, bro.
I literally
Yeah,
thought it was
doesn't
Gilly.
look
I
good.
thought it was Gilly from Barstool, dude.
The t-shirt, like I know he's always done the t-shirt, but
Yeah.
at his big age now, like the t-shirt does not do him any favors. And like the white t-shirt under the dark blue jersey
Yeah.
too, it was just man, not great. Not
The
great for
Clippers are
Chris.
not beating the Unk allegations.
No.
Clippers roster is like we talk about the old roster for the Warriors. Like I don't know what the hell is gonna happen. Like I was listening to the Hoop Collective a couple weeks ago, and they had just recently done their future rankings on
Mhm.
ESPN, and they had the Clippers ranked 5 for the future of the franchise. I'm like,
Future?
listen, like I don't like you got
What is
some
that?
good
Tree
young
Company
pieces
have
in
fake
there.
draft picks too?
Yeah, like
Yeah, they might be losing some draft
that's what
picks.
I'm saying. Like I don't see it with that team. And just even for this year, I don't see it with that team. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, that's puzzling. Maybe they were like, "Oh, John Collins is not 30 yet, so bright future."
They got
Anyway.
40-year-old Chris Paul, 37-year-old Brook Lopez, 36-year-old James Harden, 36-year-old Batum, 34-year-old Kawhi, 32-year-old Beal, Bogdan, 33. It's tough.
That is tough. There's an old group of guys there. Anyway, speaking of the Clippers, let's do our Western Conference
Let's
preview
do
here,
it.
guys. If you did not listen last week, we did the Eastern Conference preview, so you might want to go back and listen to that because we split up the entire conferences in contender, playoffs, mid, and you should tank. Not they will tank, but we think they should tank, and we know ball, so these teams should probably tank if we say so. We'll try this again. My alphabetical skills got a little hairy there in the Eastern Conference last week, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think we can comfortably start with the Dallas Mavericks here.
Oh, he's 1 for 1. He's 1 for 1, Jake. We're already off to a better start for Dunny. Dallas Mavericks. I feel like last week going alphabetical kind of helped us. We got a couple easier spots out of the way. I think this team is difficult, if I could say where to put them.
I actually agree.
Because I think a lot relies on Kyrie Irving when he's going to come back. And at first, when it first happened, everyone's thinking, "Oh, is he going to come back at any point this year?" Later on, then it kind of got pushed back. Now I'm hearing something like he might be back before 2026. Now he might be back in January. Christmas. Yeah, right around Christmas. He's doing his basketball activities right now, and then Jason Kidd kind of goes on and says, "Hey, temper expectations." So I don't really know. That's kind of a big unknown right now of when Kyrie will be back, when we'll see this Mavericks team at full health. They did get, D'Angelo Russell is kind of, I guess, that, temporary, replacement for Kyrie Irving right now. I'm not the biggest Russell fan in the world, but it's fine. It is what it is. Obviously, the Mavericks is the new look Mavericks without Luka coming into the year. You have the buzz with the first overall pick, Cooper Flagg. However, they decided to get him in the lottery is one thing or not. He is a Dallas Maverick now, which is great. Anthony Davis looks like he's going to start the year healthy, which that's weird. That usually doesn't happen. Derek Lively's apparently 7'3" now. Whatever you think of that, whatever. Either way, Derek Lively's going to be better. He's been working on his outside shot as well. Him and Anthony Davis, if they're both healthy, no one's scoring inside on this team. Gafford's hurt right now. I don't think that's going to be lingering into the season. We'll see how it is. But the fact of the matter is, on paper, guys, this is a really good basketball team. And this is a team that just needs to kind of tread water until Kyrie comes back, which let's just go a little pessimistic and say it's February. All right. Let's not say Christmas. Let's give another month. Let's say it's February. I think this is a good enough roster that can be fine until Kyrie gets back. And when I look at this team, as much as I hate saying it, because you know how much I love Luka and I don't want to say this, I think this is a team, when fully healthy, has any right to win the Western Conference. I really do. I think they built this team great. I love that they brought P.J. Washington back. Like I said, Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, that type of size. Guard depth is a little concerning, but we also got to remember, too, Max Christie looked pretty good at the end of last year. Dante Exum's healthy. He really wasn't healthy at any point at all last year. Jaden Hardy showed flashes. They have good guard depth, and, that's what I was going to say, bringing in D'Lo as the kind of that temporary, veteran guard before Kyrie is back. I don't hate the look of this roster. I really do. I might be a little biased here saying I'm buying in. I'm gonna put them in the playoffs tier right now just because their best player, in my opinion. I guess you could argue Anthony Davis is their best player. That's fine too. But Kyrie Irving, I think, kind of almost like their most important player. We don't know when he's going to be back, and he could miss a big chunk of the season. So right there, I'm putting playoffs. But man, you could talk me into contender because I look at this roster top to bottom, and I'm like, this is a really good team. Biggest question marks when Kyrie comes back, and Cooper Flagg's a rookie, right? We got to see how he translates to the NBA. Some guys it takes a little longer than others. I don't think it will with Cooper, but that's still you can't guarantee anything. So the Mavs right now, I have playoffs. I can be talking contender.
I don't think you sound biased at all, Steve. I think this roster is a top 3 in the NBA.
Wow,
fully healthy. They just have everything. Like you mentioned, I'm not gonna repeat all the guys you mentioned, but they have the front court depth. When Kyrie's healthy, they have the guard play depth, and I actually think they have enough pieces where if they needed to at the deadline, they could make a move and they could go a bunch of different ways with it. The team needs a center. Gafford, Lively, willing to trade either of those guys probably if the price is right. Klay Thompson, like who knows where things are going to go with Klay. Maybe he's underperforming. Maybe one of these younger guards steps up. You can move on from Klay. You just mentioned it, PJ Washington, great re-sign, but he's also on a great deal, which a lot of people would be interested in a guy like PJ Washington. So I just think they have the depth, they have the flexibility, they have the star power, they have the number one pick in the draft. It's really tough to not put them in a contender, but I'm with you. My first thought was playoff just because the Kyrie situation, it's almost similar to what we said last week about the Celtics and Jason Tatum. It's like, obviously, if Tatum was healthy and we knew he was going to return at some point, they'd be a contender. It's a little different because, Kyrie's not on his level, but it's like we just don't really know. So I think right now, Mavericks playoffs.
And I think last week we did 4, 4, 4, and 3 for the tiers, right? 4 contenders, 4 playoffs, 4 mid, and then 3 you should tank, or maybe it was 3 mid, 4 you should tank, which I think we should keep because obviously the final 2 spots are the play-in. So I think we want to try to keep 4 contenders in playoffs. And let's be honest, the West is loaded.
Yeah,
the West is loaded. So, putting a team in playoffs in the West doesn't really mean that they're not a contender. It's just that the West, man, has so many good teams.
Yeah.
If Kyrie's healthy, I think this is top 2, top 3 team in the West. But right now, like I said, that's the big question mark.
Are we too crazy, Jake?
No, I'm not much more to add. I think it's very assuredly a playoff team with, really, as much as it is, you guys are talking a lot about Kyrie and him coming back. It's as much to me just about Cooper Flag. Like if Cooper Flag is just burst onto the scene and it is like a top, 30, we'll see where we have him ranked in our rankings, but if he's like a top 35 NBA player this year or something like that, and with that, how that team can already, like you said, Dunny, they're such a deep roster. They really have answers for everything. They're going to be a defensive juggernaut again, and he's only going to help that. The sky's really the limit if he comes out and is just like NBA star ready day one, which I feel like is very possible. He feels like a guy who's very polished coming into the league. It's not like a number one pick where you're like, when's it gonna all come together? Like his game's there. So that's the linchpin for me. And then Kyrie is kind of just the icing on the cake later in the season, where this could be already a really good team. Coop starts really figuring it out, that maybe the rookie wall hits a little bit, but as Kyrie comes in, it starts to pick up the slack, and then they can kind of build their chemistry right as they need to. Yeah, this is going to be a fun year for the Mavericks, and fun couple years down the line to see what Flag's development is. But yeah, definitely a playoff team. I don't think we want to put them in contender just with too many questions. So I think we're in the right spot here.
I mean, what's the ceiling for this team if Cooper Flag has like a Paolo Banchero type rookie year, right? Like, you like champion. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I think you're right, Jake. Where like we know the hype around Cooper Flag. We know he was kind of not as hyped as Wemby, but he was a lot higher than the previous number one picks before Wemby. So it's there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement for this team right now. I'm excited. I shouldn't be. I'm excited. I'm all the way bought back in. You should be excited. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this team could do.
All right, Mavericks in the playoff tier. Next up, Denver Nuggets. It feels weird to just talk about how good the Mavericks roster is, where I think their roster might be better than Denver. I think Denver's got to be a contender because their best player, or most important player, how we're just talking about Kyrie, is Jokic, who is healthy, and the guys around him have improved. So I'm comfortable throwing Denver as a contender.
I'm comfortable saying this is the best team in the NBA. I'm comfortable right now saying the Denver Nuggets are the best team in the NBA. Okay. First off, we're talking about the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic. He's been the best player in the world for feels like 5 years at this point. We're talking about his supporting cast getting better. They bring back Bruce Brown. They flip Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson is going to be a lot better fit on this team. Christian Brown, I mean, look at the step he took last year. Peyton Watson, look at the step he took last year. This is a team, you get a backup center, Jonas Valanciunas, an actual good backup center in Jonas Valanciunas, who, could start on a decent amount of NBA teams in his own right. This supporting cast is just so much better than it was last year, in my opinion. The team's kind of healthy right now. I don't think there's that much pressure on Jokic, and I just look like you said, Dunny, top to bottom, man. This is a team that really, gave OKC probably their best fight with a much weaker supporting cast, and that's regular season and playoffs. You get the best player in the world. You get the players around him better, man. And then you also give Jokic a backup center for once. A backup center is good enough to start. Where what was been the biggest concern about the Denver Nuggets in the previous seasons? Their splits with Jokic on the court versus Jokic not on the court. I mean, it was night and day, those type of splits. And part of the reason was, A, they didn't have another big man they could throw back there. And B, Mike Porter Jr. is shooting them out of the gym. You fixed both those problems. You get Cam Johnson, who's, I think, a better shooter. I think a better defender. I think a better playmaker. And, he didn't have the height that MPJ did coming out of college, but I don't care. He's performed well, and he's one of those guys, right, who performed on a bad Brooklyn team that no one really cared about. No one's watching Cam Johnson on Brooklyn. You're about to watch him play the easiest basketball of his life in Denver. And also, too, guys, we're talking about players, coming to Denver. Jokic just makes them better. They get the most open looks of their life. Cam Johnson was on Brooklyn. I mean, he's got work for everything there. Now he comes here. You bring back Bruce Brown, who, oh, by the way, had his best career season on this Denver Nuggets team. We saw what Christian Brown did, the step he took in just his second year. I mean, guys, I think this team. I think this Denver Nuggets team set up for a championship right now. And I get how good the Thunder are. I get how dominant they looked last year. I get how dominant they looked winning the championship. But it's hard to go back to back. It's hard to go back to back. And I think it's hard to go out of the West in back-to-back years with the way that this Western Conference is looking like. Dude, this Denver Nuggets team, man, might be the one seed in the Western Conference at the end of the regular season.
Wow. A lot of contenders, as you mentioned. You're probably right.
I'm with Steve 100% here. I wish we would argue a little bit more about the Nuggets, but man, like this is a team around Jokic. Like he's made it. Listen, he didn't even mention him. Did you hear him in his speaking of his media day? He in his little press conference, he's like, "Oh, all my friends left." Did not mention Michael Porter Jr. at all.
Yeah,
I just wonder what that did to that team. Trying to get him involved, trying to make him into the star that they thought he could be, or at least needed him to be, like getting him the shots he needed to. Like, how much did it really affect them? And now coming into this year, just how much freer they're going to be able to play without trying to get him all the touches he needs and all the shots he needs. Like, it's a scary proposition. This team is not it's the same thing we talked about last week with the Bucks. Like, if Jokic is healthy, it really doesn't matter who's going to be on the floor. They should probably be in this contender tier, but this feels like they have a roster worthy of it, especially when we talk about the other teams who are like we're going to talk about later on in this conference. They are right there with all of them and going to be as tough about as anybody once they get to the playoffs. So I don't care where they end up in the regular season standings. If once they're in, they're going to be a contender no matter what. So I think it's pretty easy there.
Yeah, so Denver, I mean, two pretty easy ones. The rest of the Eastern Conference will definitely not be this easy, or the Western Conference, excuse me, will be this easy. And that brings us to a team we talked about at the top, the old folks, the Golden State Warriors. For me, this is probably going to slot into playoff pretty easily. It's tough. I know they have Steph, but I don't see Golden State as a contender with four guys over 35 in their starting lineup.
I'm surprised you put them in playoff, Dunny. I actually thought you were going to go lower into mid because of how you alluded to it with the age, with everything. I think you're right to put them in playoff because it's the Steph Curry-led team.
Yeah, Steph and Jimmy, I have too much respect for those guys, especially playoff-wise, so...
Yeah, but you're right. It is the old folks team. It's crazy. Even some of the other guys, depth guys on their team are older. You got Buddy Hield still on this team who's 32 years old in his own right. I mean, yeah, it's kind of same story with the Warriors here. There's nothing really too exciting for me. I did like they brought back Peyton and Melton. I thought that was kind of like nice locker room chemistry moves. Also, guys that will have roles on the team. But yeah, you're right. It's I think they'll be good. My biggest thing is with this Warriors team, all you got to do is just get to the playoffs, because then, you never know what's going to happen when you got Steph Curry on your team and Jimmy Butler, two of the best playoff performers in the past 15, 20 years. Yeah, but I'm fine with you. I'll put them in playoff team. I actually thought we were going to argue here, Dunny. I thought you were going to finally, raise the flag, celebrate end of the Warriors dynasty, throw them in mid, but you went playoff. So I had a bunch of notes here, Dunny. I don't need to say any of those points at this point, because we're going to agree. We're just going to throw them in playoffs and leave it, unless we got Mr. Cleveland over here. Let's see if he agrees.
Look at this cup, guys. I found this at my parents' house. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? 10 years ago. We're old now. I want to put him in mid so bad, but it's still Steph Curry. Like, it's really it's just too much respect for Steph. I got to see him really fall off before that. And there are some other teams here who deserve mid more, I think, on my list. I'll begrudgingly put them in playoffs, but say that I'm going to put them in mid. You guys already said playoffs. I'm putting them in mid. There's no way this team's good. Like, they might make the playoffs. There's no way this is going to be a good team. I'm sorry. Jimmy Butler looked like he had lost a little bit of a step last year. Draymond, the thing about Draymond, I feel like when I thought he was going to fall off by now, it's impressive that he's still been able to be as defensively active and impactful as he is. But I feel like there's going to be a slip in athleticism one of these years with Draymond, where he's going to be unplayable on the floor. And just Steve Kerr doesn't have a contract right now. They basically gave into Kuminga's demands, because what other answers did they really have? It's just not a team that I feel good about going into the season. So I'm changing. I'm gonna put them at mid. It's a 2-on-1. You guys got them in the playoffs, but I'll gladly cheer on and hope for the Warriors' downfall. They're right on the edge with me, where I think they're going to be in the play-in conversation anyways when it comes to the rest of this conference. So,
I can put them in the playoff section, Jake. That does not mean I'm not praying on their downfall also.
I was going to say, if you talked for maybe 30 more seconds, I think you would have convinced Dunny to throw him in mid as well.
Should tank. They should tank. No, but before we move on, I was going to ask you, Jake, if the 2-year, $48.5 million deal for Kuminga sways you at all.
Is Kuminga
I was shocked.
Don't even know if he's a good player. I feel like they had to do it, because what else? It's either have Kuminga at $24 million or nobody at this point, and you'd rather just have him. It felt like, if we're talking about who wins the deal, Kuminga won that deal running away by getting that money from and he basically gets out of it after this year. There's no team option, it's player option. He's not going to take that. If he has a good year, he's leaving there for sure. Or he's getting moved at some point this year for somebody else. So I don't know.
It's just. Do you guys think there really wasn't a market for Kuminga? I also don't think the contract's crazy. I don't think I would want my team to pay him that, but I don't think it's outlandish. And I'm kind of surprised.
I feel like he just wanted to get to. I feel like he just wanted to get to because I think he was still restricted this year, right? So I think he wanted to get to unrestricted free agency and have his options open. There's more teams with cap space coming up this summer than there has been the last 3 years. But I think it is a detriment to he has definitely been a disappointment to what he could have been, coming into his career. There was a lot of hype around him when he first gets picked up as a guy who could be an impactful all-star level player. I don't think he's shown spurts, but I don't think he's ever done that for a consistent enough stretch where I'd want to pay him $25 million a year. But we're talking about, the Warriors don't have any answers. They need talent and they need youth on the roster with everything that we're talking about. And he is the infusion of that for them, besides Pods and a couple other guys. But they're depending on him a lot this year, coming into it, which is another thing that worries me. But
and it's just so weird, because he was getting benched when they literally were throwing, no name guys out there last year. And I also think the Kerr thing that you brought up is peculiar too, Jake, because he kind of said, like, I'm not talking contracts until after the year.
Yeah.
So strange
It'd be
stuff.
smart with him to just hitch his wagon to Steph and then call it a day. And Steph's not that Steph's going to be done anytime soon, but if he sees that there's like a path for this team to start going downhill, even with Steph, it might just be time for Steve. Like, go out on top, bro. Like,
Right.
you'll be remembered as a legend, and no one's going to worry about your like down years if you just head out after 2025. Goes back to broadcasting or whatever else. There's some big money in broadcasting now. So, hey, Steve, go get your bag, bro.
True. We're good with Golden State playoff team slaughtered in.
Yep.
Houston Rockets, baby. I think I'm still killing it alphabetically. Houston.
Yeah,
You're
Rockets.
right on, right on.
You're right.
I mean, it's pretty easy for me, guys. This is going to be my second contender here.
Yeah, I'm right there.
I don't know how you can't, man. Like they're kind of similar to the Mavericks argument, and I know we didn't put the Mavericks in the contender spot, other than them losing Van Vliet, which is a tough blow, and I don't think we mentioned that last week. But I mean, they have everything. They have everything on this team. They have fucking size for days. I think like everyone in their starting lineup, almost, especially now that Van Vliet's going to be out, has a 7-foot wingspan. I read. Like, and we, Amin, we were talking about him a little bit before he helped on the pod. Like KD with probably the least pressure he's had in a while as far as actually pressure on the court and playing. KD's always going to have pressure to win, but this just seems like a real perfect opportunity for this Rockets squad.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven for KD and for this Rockets team, right? It's one of those where KD goes to the Rockets and everyone's like, that's the perfect spot for KD at this point in his career. And the Rockets, that's the perfect kind of player to land. So it just feels like it's going to work out. This is a team that's been pretty good. And, I don't want to say overachieved, but I think they kind of, were a little bit ahead of their timeline of when people thought this was going to be a pretty good competitive team the past couple seasons. I mean, there's nothing much you can really say. Amin Thompson, I think, is going to have a monster year this year. Kevin Durant is going to be great there for Alperen Sengun, who can really just kind of not have to have any offensive pressure on him at all. He can just kind of do what he wants. You don't have the inconsistency of Jalen Green anymore. You have the opposite of that with the definition of consistency when it comes to Kevin Durant. If he's healthy and he's on the floor, he's going to be scoring and he's going to be shooting an efficient clip. So I really like this team. There's not much else to say. Like you said, Dunny, they got size, they got athleticism, they got depth. I think we'll see a little bit more of Reed Shepherd this year, which will be exciting.
Yep.
Jabari Smith, I think, will have a lot less pressure on him now. I think it's just a great roster, and they brought in the perfect type of vet to play the perfect role for this team. So, yeah, I got no complaints about putting them contender. I hope we disagree soon, but we're 4 for 4 right now.
I know we are.
Jake, I assume you're in lockstep here.
Oh yeah, I mean this is the biggest threat to Oklahoma City in my opinion. This was a team that could have taken them. I mean, I was high on them last year and going into the playoffs and everything else. Adding Kevin Durant, losing Van Vliet sucks because they won't have that steadying presence. But if it means more Reed Shepherd and more Amin Thompson, that could be better than having Van Vliet on the floor for all we know as it happens anyways. But having Durant, like all this team needed last year was a guy to go to in the clutch to score. Like that was all we talked about all year long. Like going to Jalen Green was just too inconsistent. Now you have Kevin fucking Durant on this team, bro. Like it just feels like either if you believe in sports karma and anything else, it's either going to be like the final triumphant moment for Kevin Durant or the worst thing ever for him to lose to Oklahoma City in the playoffs this year. So one way or the other, we're going to get that series sometime along the line. At least I hope. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, you got Kevin Durant added to that team from last year. That's a simple contender and keep it moving. I think we'll get more interesting here as we get into the LA teams, which we got next.
And let's not forget about Ime Udoka, who has already been
absolutely. I mean, Ime is like a top 5 coach in the league. I think that.
Yes, I think that's fair.
What he's been able to do is crazy. Yeah.
I don't know how he does it, but he does. Yes, next would be, if we're really sticking to the alphabetical, the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah.
Talked about them at the top a little bit. They're the other Unk team. A lot of old heads on this Clippers squad. We got the Kawhi tree drama. We got Chris Paul making his return for year 39 in the league. Everything for this squad, but I have a tough one with this. I mean, they do have a lot of talent at the top still, whether you want to put question marks next to most of them or not. Are they a playoff squad, guys? I'm going to need help with this one. I don't know.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. I think this is a playoff squad. I think this is a team that could give any team in the West a good series, or this is a team that could fall off the face of the earth by January because of injuries or, like we said, all the off-court stuff with involving Kawhi. Who knows what could happen with that? But if we just look at this just as bare bones, as the players on their roster, the experience on their roster, the talent on their roster, you can't keep this team out of the playoffs. I mean, if healthy, you got James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Zubac as your starting five.
Yeah.
You got Brook Lopez, Chris Paul, Nick Batum, Derek Jones Jr. coming off the bench. I mean, and Bogdanovich. I mean, this is just a talented roster. Yeah, they're a little on the older side. Yeah, we have a lot of but yeah, you're not being nice. We got a little off court issues. A little here, little there. We don't know how many games Kawhi's going to play, whether or not it happens with this fake tree company or not. We still don't know if he's going to be locked in for however many games. But the reality
they're the
is,
oldest team in NBA history.
A little on the old side, but the reality is, it's a good roster, top to bottom. How long will it be a good roster? What will happen off the court? Who knows? But I'm just looking at it, just straight bare bones right here. It's a playoff roster. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is a playoff roster.
I think they should tank. I think you get rid of all these old guys and get your draft picks that you're going to lose because they're not winning the title. And go ahead, make the playoffs.
Why would you want draft picks if you're going to lose them?
Well, they won't lose the other team's draft picks. They're going to lose their own draft picks.
Okay.
There's no way this team's winning the title. What are you doing with a 34-year-old average age team? I think they should tank. I think you trade Kawhi, you trade Harden, you
can't trade Kawhi right now.
You trade Brad Beal.
You can't trade Kawhi right now.
Will take him.
What's going on? No way.
Someone would take him. You're telling me Miami wouldn't take him?
We talked about this like a month ago. Let's say something happens. Kawhi is like heavily involved, knew what was going on. He's suspended for the whole year. You don't think Kawhi's just like, all right, I'm done playing basketball?
Well, that's true. He might.
No team's taking on that risk. Team wants.
There are a lot of dumb teams in the league, Steve.
There are a lot of dumb teams. The Clippers are a dumb team too.
That's why they have a 33-year-old average age roster heading into the season. They are a dumb team. You're right. I think they should take. You guys want to put them in the playoffs? That's fine. There's no way this ends well.
Now this is an absolute shit show, and you were right about it getting more interesting when we get into the LA teams because I'm considering putting them in mid.
splitting the difference.
No,
it's so hard to look at this roster and be like, it's not a playoff roster.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm with you, but with our category of you should tank, this is a team that I'm like, just fucking blow it up, bro. Like give it up, old man.
I think there's a couple better teams in the West that should tank than the Clippers, but I get where you're coming from.
Let's throw them in the playoffs.
That's fine.
Let's throw them in the playoffs. It's weird that. I mean, it's really so dependent on the Kawhi thing. Because if the Kawhi shit does happen and he does get disciplined and they don't lose draft picks but they get fined and he gets suspended, then yeah, I'm with you. They should tank then. But they also could turn it to mid then. I mean, this is just a big question mark for the Clippers in general. But I think you're right, Steve. If we look at that group, if we look at what they did last year and how much we doubted them last year going into the season, and then they were one of like the biggest surprises in the NBA, I think they have a much better roster this year. They have a lot more depth. They kind of have a better identity with the pieces they brought in. So, and if the Kawhi shit doesn't, if it ends up just being a big misunderstanding, which I don't think it is, but if that were the case, you also have the good vibes of Chris Paul coming back. So
Great
who the fuck
vibes.
knows what's going to happen with the Clippers? Playoff team for
Bring back
now.
Blake Griffin a little too. Why not? Bump that age up. Bump that age up.
If
Bring him
Blake's
back.
coming back, he's coming back to the C's again.
Oh yeah. I'm sure he is. He might go to Golden State. Go Big Al's over there. Look at him.
Oh no, that's tough.
Or you know what? Blake could join Marcus Smart in LA. Let's go late show. Let's go late.
Let's talk about this team. Let's talk about this team filled with traitors. The Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, fuck, man. They're a contender. What do you want me to say, dude?
No,
they're a fucking contender.
Oh,
they have
okay.
Luka and LeBron.
They're not a contender.
Okay.
I don't have them as a contender either. So.
I don't have them as a contender. I
Right.
love
well,
that you
guys
say
aren't
they're a
about
contender.
to make me defend the Lakers then. No fucking
Yeah, no.
way.
You know what?
Oh yeah,
You
tell
have
us
the
your
floor.
case, buddy.
You have the floor, Dunny.
him
Why
on the
Lakers a
title,
contender? You have the floor.
What have I done? No, I mean to me it's as simple as they have Luka and LeBron. I've seen this might be the only time ever that I've bought into the body images of a athlete in the off season, because Luka's skinny, dude. Like he's listed at 230 right now. When he joined the Lakers, he was 270 apparently. So
But no, that's bull. That was so fabricated.
You think that was a lie?
Yeah, 270 is crazy.
I mean, even just looking at him though, like he has lost. I don't think he's lost 40 pounds either, but he's lost a substantial amount of weight. 40 pounds for a pro athlete who's that tall would be fucking insane. He would be sick before I thought he was in good shape. But I don't know. I mean, geez, I might be convincing myself otherwise after pulling up the roster.
It's pretty tough, man.
It's not good, and it's not a roster that should be built around Luka or LeBron. And also, what LeBron are we getting this year?
Well, that is, does he want to be there for the entire year too? And I still don't know if they can play together or not based off of the end of last year. Like it was a lot of his turn type shit. Reeves is kind of like Reeves needs the ball in his hands too. So you have your three best players all are better with the ball in their hands.
Yeah.
This team is clearly, the organization has clearly said we are a Luka Doncic organization, but you just don't do that with LeBron. I just feel like I can't put him in a contender because I've seen this happen too many times with LeBron James. It's gonna get weird before it gets better. I feel like. I mean, he's already out with a literal pain in his ass. Like that's what he's missing practice for is a nerve irritation in his glute. Like I swear he makes this shit up.
Did you see how much lower body dancing he was doing on the Casanat stream? It's insane, dude. Like, no, I mean, you guys might be right.
You also got like four guys that just don't want to play defense in your starting lineup. Like LeBron at this point in his career doesn't want to play defense. DeAndre Ayton has never wanted to play defense. Luka picks and chooses when he wants to play defense. And Austin Reeves, I don't know if he knows what defense is. It's really, really concerning to me. I was debating putting him in mid. So when you said contender, Dunny, I was a little bit shocked because I love Luka as much as anyone. I think it's hard to keep a team with Luka and LeBron on the same team out of the playoffs. But man, dude, I just look at this roster and there's nothing that gets me excited outside of those two.
Yeah,
what gets you excited on this roster?
I only picked them for the playoffs because Luka
and
LeBron make the playoffs. But I was close to picking mid too. I was definitely closer to mid than contender. I don't know what happened to you, Dunny. What
I know. He came out. He's like, let's put him contender.
I'm rusty, man. It's football.
You got a LeBron fan over there, a Luka fan over here. We're like, what is this Austin hater seeing right now in this Laker team?
That's a Celtics fan who's seen too much LeBron in his life, and he's just like, I can't.
And
I can't stand Luka.
I mean, we kind of neutralized Luka the year we played him in the finals, but like I watched all those games leading up to the finals, and that Luka was a scary dude. And I guess I was just
got his. You guys just
I think LeBron is ready
on the other side. Yeah, I do too.
I just think he's like, this is it. He's gonna be on TV next year.
I was looking at this a little too narrow-minded, I guess. Like my thing was they looked solid at some points in the playoffs last year, and the biggest thing was like they don't have a center. And I was on the record when they made this move for DeAndre Ayton. Do I think it's like an answer of all answers? No, but they got by far the
Agreed.
best guy they could have this summer
Agreed.
to fill that role. So
I would have rather have Miles Turner.
okay, that's fair.
And that I think that, but I agree with you. One of the best.
I would say
pieces
best
they could have got.
best big to pair with Luca. I would
Yeah.
still have Ayton, but I think you're right. I think Turner all in all
Because Turner
better-
can
better
shoot
center
too,
option.
right? And
Yeah,
Turner,
and better
like
defender.
that's what
Much
you
better
need
defender.
with Luca and LeBron is you need guys who can stretch the floor and shoot.
Yeah, no,
but I
that's a
think
good
you're
point.
right. DeAndre Ayton, what would upgrade over Jackson Hayes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'd
could
say
say
that's
so.
a significant upgrade. And when Jackson Hayes was like in foul trouble or got hurt, they'd throw in Gabe Vincent, and then they'd just be like, "We'll play small." So yeah, I do think that's a significant upgrade. And also too, I know we talked about we're not sure what the Luka LeBron chemistry is. I don't want to be optimistic here, but we did say that about Luka Kyrie when it was a halfway through the season acquisition. And then the following year, they just kind of clicked because they both know basketball. They're both great playmakers. They both just kind of know where everyone is on the floor. And we talked about this, whether LeBron's checked in or not. Him and Luka are two of the best, minds in basketball, playmakers. They just know where everyone is at all times. So, yeah, that could work. But like I said, Dunny, this roster just doesn't get me out of bed. Doesn't get me excited. I'll watch
Yeah.
Luka. I'll be excited to watch him play. But man, I can't talk myself into this team.
In where it did make me sick. Like I thought the Smart accusation was a good one this summer for them, and now he's hurt already during camp with an Achilles issue. So, it's tough when the talent you do have on your team is on the older side in some situations. You got unproven guys like Connect, and Bronny's got a real roster spot. We can wait till the regular season starts before we get into our Bronny debates. But yeah, no, this is probably much closer to mid than it is a contender. I see those two names and I'm like they
I
gotta
get
be
it.
in that section. But let's throw them in mid. We don't have any teams in mid yet. And
Okay.
I mean, a LeBron, if this ass injury for LeBron lingers at all, they could be mid to start the season.
Something's a pain in his ass, bro. I'm telling you, he's
Yeah.
he's such an asshole with
It's
this
that
stuff.
Bronny
Like,
has a better golf swing than him. That's what's got him all turned.
Ron
up.
does not. I mean, it's got to be weird to be swinging a golf club at 6'8". That's what I think. But it doesn't. I feel like he should have a cleaner golf swing. Like go get a coach, man.
Bronny, however, might be on
Bronny,
tour
yeah.
next year. The way
Yeah.
he's been golfing.
Oh man,
He's playing the
That's
wrong
tough.
sport.
Yeah, dude, he's like, oh yeah, I shot like a 80, 82, like after like a month of playing. I go, oh, nice, Bronny, 82 after a month of playing. It took me about
That
8
quote
years.
made me so mad, dude.
Took me about 8 years. What we talked about, I had to go to the range for like 2 months straight to fine tune my whole golf swing after I thought I lost it. This guy's like, oh yeah, just a month, 82.
Yeah.
I pride myself that I can shoot low 80s consistently. That took years of work. This guy shows up. Give me a break, Bronny. I hope you stink this year. I hope you stink at basketball this year.
All right, we're getting into the Bronny combos early. I was mistaken.
Next team, Dunny. Next team.
All right, Memphis Grizzlies. Any opening thoughts here on Memphis? I think I'm throwing them with the last team, but tell me if I'm wrong.
I got him as mid too. I don't really have a lot more to say this with no Bane on this roster either. It depends. Maybe Jaren Jackson takes another step forward. I mean, if we
He
can get
did
John
take a
Morant
step
back to who
forward
he
last
was.
year.
Yeah, he was great
Mhm.
last year. But it's just too much competition here. I got him as mid as well.
I believe Edie and Jackson are both going to miss the start of the season too with injuries.
It's not good.
No.
There's a lot of guys on this team I like, but I think the biggest thing is how are you going to replace Desmond Bane? And I know Scottie Pippen Jr. played really well as the year went on, right? And they got Jalen. I think it was Jalen Wells had a good rookie year.
Yeah.
It's just so much on Ja, and I think Ja has been probably the biggest question mark in basketball it feels like the past 5 seasons. And if you're telling me that a lot of this team's success relies on Ja Morant, a guy that I don't even know how many games we're going to get out of, I can't just convince myself they're going to be in the playoffs in a really good Western Conference. So we'll agree on this one as well. Throw them in mid. Throw them in mid.
Yeah, Jackson's 4 to 6 weeks to start the season, and Edie's 6 to 9 before he returns. So this is a easy mid for me. I mean, it's just they really didn't do anything to fill in that Bane hole. I mean, it's tough. It's kind of getting exhausting having the same conversations about Ja too.
I know.
Like I love the talent. We all loved him first coming out. I really wish it was a different story with Ja right now, but it's just not. So mid for the Grizzlies. We will move on to the Minnesota Timberwolves here. I mean, the West as a whole is just a lot more interesting, I think, this year than the Eastern Conference. East might be more wide open, but the West is just stacked, man. And the Minnesota Timberwolves.
This is a tough one.
This is very tough for me. My gut off rip is to just go playoff here. But either of you guys feel strongly about making them a contender?
I think they underachieved last year, right? They underachieved from 2 years ago, and then they kind of got hot at the right time. I think this is a team that has some young talent in Dillingham and Terrence Shannon that I both think will take a step up. I really love how this team is defensively, and the one reason I could convince myself to put Minnesota in contender is they are one of the few teams that plays really well against Denver and Oklahoma City. And, in order to, be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm fine putting them in playoff because, it's still kind of Minnesota. We're talking about a Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert team as a contender. But Randle played really, really good last year. I'm not going to take anything away from Julius Randle last year. Anthony Edwards, as much as I get annoyed when people try to say he's as good as, the Luka, Giannis, Jokic, SGA tier. It still annoys me. I still think he's a very, 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 very good player who's just going to keep getting better. You could talk me into either side, playoff or contender. I'll let you two. If you guys disagree, I'll be the tiebreaker. But you could talk me on either side.
I think I'm more on the playoffs than a contender, just because with Randall, last year was awesome. I need to see it again from him. It's been too up and down his whole career, where it feels like it could be a year where he struggled. Like he played the best of his career, I think, last year. Mm-hmm. To see that happen again, I just don't know if he can string those things together. Go there again. We're talking about relying on old guys. Gobert, another year older, like he's still impactful, but he's 33 now. Like I don't like that might start getting. That's a lot of miles on him. Injury things could creep up, everything else. Like I don't know if you can depend if maybe he will, but I don't know if you can bank on him being the stalwart that he is for at least maybe this year, but not for many more years. Conley is 37, like so it's either he's producing or one of these young guys is going to have to do something.
I think Dillingham has good opportunity to have a big year.
Yeah. But then it feels like we're transitioning into the new era of the Timberwolves more than the existing era with Dillingham, with Naz Reid getting more and more responsibility on this team, with Shannon being around, McDaniels, so I'm just going to put them in the playoffs. I think that they could surprise us and get into that contender. I think they can beat anybody in the West, but with the teams we have as contenders, I don't think they're on that level yet. So I'm going to stick them in playoffs.
That was going to be my point. I think they're closer to the Mavericks without Kyrie, Warriors, and Clippers than they are the Nuggets and Rockets. However, I could see a Timberwolves fan listening to this and feeling slighted because they do have a great roster. Bringing up guys like Naz Reid to play behind a guy like Gobert and Randall and a guy like Dillingham to play behind a guy like Connolly if he were to get injured or just completely fall off this year. Like, those are luxuries. So playoffs, I think, kind of on the higher end of the playoffs teams here in the West. Not quite a contender for Happy Hour Hoops, though. Okay, where are we next?
New Orleans.
Oh, yes. I almost forgot about them. The New Orleans Pelicans. Skinny Zion, baby.
Are we buying into Skinny Zion? Are we buying that propaganda?
I can't do it. I'm going to put him at mid.
Yeah, I think I agree.
I mean, DeJounte Murray timeline is New Year's right now.
Yeah.
Like this is a
That
team
means we
with
get to
Jordan
see more
Poole.
Jose Alvarado. That's always fun.
That is always
It
fun.
It is fun. I agree.
Oh,
Yeah,
of
I
course
just
the
can't.
Pelicans are who ended up with Hunter Dickinson. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they also got Derek Queen, Maryland,
Yeah.
Maryland kid. They got
Oh,
Queen.
I couldn't forget
Traded up
about
big
that.
for him.
They
Yeah.
paid up for him.
Hey, and they
Mhm.
got Jordan Poole this year.
They got
Which-
Jordan Poole.
That sucks for Derek Queen because like he's such a good prospect, but like ever since the draft, he's just been being diminished because it was a stupid trade to get Derek Queen.
Right.
But Derek Queen, the player, is great.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
Looney.
They got Looney. I mean, they have Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. I could talk.
those
I
are
could
the
have a
bright
full
spots.
2-hour podcast just talking about how much I love Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. I like the roster. Once again, it's the same thing with the same draft class. The Grizzlies are relying too much on Ja Morant and the question marks around him, and for different reasons, it feels like the Pelicans with Zion Williamson. So I feel like we got to put them in mid. But would I be shocked if this is a playoff team? No, because I think the roster's good. I do. And last year, this was the most unlucky team when it came to injuries. Anytime someone started playing well, they got hurt a week later. And it just, I really do like the talent on this team. It's just a lot of question marks. I will argue, too, that I think Trey Murphy might be their best player on this roster at the end of the year. I just think he's that talented of a basketball player.
I can see that, honestly.
But yeah, I'm fine with mid for now. It's Zion. It feels like the Grizzlies just kind of reskinned with the question mark around this superstar who was supposed to be so impactful, and we just haven't. We've seen it in spurts. We just haven't seen it for a full year.
Exactly. It's all dependent on Zion. Like if he turns up, good. But I'm not gonna bet on that before the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Pelicans definitely think, and Steve, you kind of alluded to it with all the injuries last year. Like I think they'll have a much better record than last year, but doesn't mean they still can't be mid, which is where we have them slotted. Phoenix Suns. That would be the next team.
This is your first one. Your first one you missed on the alphabet.
Did
you
I?
forgot the defending NBA champions.
Oh, the
Oklahoma City
Oh
Thunder.
my gosh, Dunny.
Oh, that's
Dunny.
okay because really, like, while they are because they're defending champions and they're number one in the ESPN future rankings that we talked about, there's not much we have to say. This team is the contender in the NBA for the next however many years.
I mean, if you watched the playoffs last year, you would know how good this team is. If you watched the regular season last year, you would know they pretty much brought back the entire roster. They're just better. I mean, we don't have to talk too much about them. I feel kind of like we're disrespecting them, just breezing over them. But yeah, I mean,
Slick's entering you in the chat.
Tough look for Dunny, but there's not much else you could say about this Thunder team. They're a contender. They're
a
the defending
wagon.
champs for a reason. They're a wagon. Yeah, they have the
I knew we
size.
weren't
They
going to
have
spend
the
too much time
athleticism.
on
They
them.
have the depth.
That's why I skipped.
Yeah, you were just
You
thinking
had them
ahead.
penciled in. I mean, they should be penciled in. They should be in pen as a contender. Like they got the MVP. They got the title. Like they're going to be there no matter
They
what.
have the last player to be able to wear number 6 in the NBA too.
That's pretty crazy.
That's right.
Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
The worst Jalen Williams. No disrespect.
Damn, that felt disrespectful. Damn, you could have just said, not the Santa Clara one. Yeah, you just had to take a shot.
J-Dub.
Yeah, not J-Dub. The one from Arkansas, but the worst one, man. This one, it doesn't deserve to play.
I got some things to work on before the season, all right?
He's still in preseason mode right now.
I'm in media day mode. It's fine. Kevin Love's on the Jazz. I mentioned that.
Yeah, we'll get to the Jazz.
Phoenix Suns, yes. Next.
Tank.
No more
tank.
O teams.
I have
Just
them as
tank.
a tank. Yeah, they need
Just
to
tank.
blow it all up. Save Devin Booker. Can I put that instead? Free Devin Booker.
Can I say something?
Yep. Sure.
Sure.
Oh boy.
They are mid. They are mid. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in December this is a 6 seed and they're like holding that spot pretty comfortably.
What do you like on this team? outside of Booker,
I
Mark
don't-
Williams, Jalen Green?
I just think that they have a lot of above average talent, and
Oh,
sometimes this works. Sometimes these weird, like honestly feel like I kind of felt the same way about the Clippers last year that I do about this Suns team. And look what happened with the Clippers last year.
yeah, but the Clippers also had a guy like Kawhi Leonard coming back, and the Clippers have I mean, we got Devin Booker and what? Like Jalen Green? You think Jalen Green's just going to shoot 30 times a night and just get the confidence
No.
back?
I'm with you guys. I would put them in mid. I'm just saying I have this weird.
I don't want to put him in mid. I want to put him in tank.
I put him in front of Devin Booker.
I don't want.
Yeah,
I
get him
want
in
to
tank,
put him
so-
in mid. I want to put this team in tank. I don't think. What's the future outlook for this team?
I mean, they
not
should.
great.
You're right. They
They
should
better hope
tank.
Jalen Green's
They should
good.
tank.
Better.
I keep forgetting that disclaimer. They should tank. They won't, but let's put them there. They won't because
Oh.
their owners.
Also, too, they drafted Malawak just to get a Malawak and Mark Williams.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? What are we doing? I just.
Don't forget about 27-year-old Nick Richards, who's
Oh, how could I
keep being
forget?
told he's
How
gonna,
could I forget Nick
turn it
Richards?
around.
Yeah, and I can't forget everyone's favorite. What's his face? Mr. Grayson Allen. No, why not throw another Duke guy in there? Everyone's also the Phoenix Suns' favorite role player of all time, Royce O'Neal. I mean, come on, this team's not winning. This team's not winning enough games to get to
tank.
the playoffs.
Free D book.
You think they could be a 6 seed? You think you see them in this West? Like,
I just don't be shocked if it happens. That's all I'm saying.
you do realize there would have to be 8 teams worse
Yep.
in the West than this team if you have them as a 6 seed.
I can tell you one that's worse. The Portland Trailblazers.
Yep.
I don't even know if they I guess should tank. I don't know what else you do. Just get as
Or
many
Drew
picks
Holiday,
as you can.
man. I mean, yeah, actually should tank part of that trade Drew.
This
It's
is
the same
like,
thing as the
this
Suns,
season
just free
exists
Drew.
for Damian Lillard. Like
Dame's
field goal
back.
moment,
Welcome
right?
back,
Like,
Dame.
Yeah, welcome back, Dame.
I mean, we could, realistically, we could see Scoot Henderson take another step. He's only 21. He looked good at the end of last year. Denny Advia is the most underrated player in the NBA. I will still argue that. I'll still
it sucks
argue
because
that.
I don't want to put them in mid because I
I don't-
actually like a lot of the players on this team. So I do think the appropriate thing probably is tank here. They have Caleb Love too, which is that's just fun.
Yeah, they do. We really think tank's the move with this team because what does tank entail with this team? Because I like their young core. I do.
I
think
you
it's-
just got to get more talent to them.
You don't like Shaden Sharp?
Not enough that I wouldn't try to get a top 5 pick this year.
Well, yeah,
Like, they're
top
not
5.
making the
I think they could run into a top 5 pick. But Klingen's 21, Advia's 24, Shaden Sharp's 22, Scoot's 21.
That does.
You
that
got
sounds
good
like a
luck.
Williams
bad
is still
basketball team to me.
27, dude.
That
Yeah,
sounds
but
like a
I'm
bad
saying
basketball team.
it's a starting point, right? When you look
You
at
need more.
how young the Rockets were, the Thunder were as a bad basketball team. At times, guys get better, especially when they're that young.
I don't think it's this year.
I don't think it's this year either, but I don't know if this is a team that should blow up the core they have.
Well, see, tanking for me isn't blowing it up. That means they could just play. They play
all
like
the young
all
guys
the
and
time.
That's where I
play
would
all
say
the
they're.
time
That's
the
where I
whole
would
time.
say they're mid, in my opinion. But I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying too. I don't think they'll be good enough to be mid, no matter what they do with this roster. I think this is the worst roster in the conference.
Whoa, I do not think that. I don't think that at
I
all.
pump the brakes on that one.
I do.
I pump the brakes on that one. I would almost go as far as say I think they could be better than Phoenix this year, but I'm not going to. We got a couple worse teams we could talk about.
I mean, the Jazz. I think the Jazz and the Kings are much worse.
Yeah, well,
rosters
that's the
than
next team
Lakers.
we're at, right? The Utah Jazz.
Kings? No, the Kings
No,
are
it's
next.
the Kings. Yeah, the Kings.
The Jazz, yes, the Jazz could be the worst. I don't think the Kings are. I mean, they could. The Kings should also tank, though. I don't like. I think all three of
The
these
Kings
teams should be
should
the worst
definitely
team in the
tank.
league.
I think
Kings
the
should
Kings-
tank. I don't know what the Kings are doing. They took what the Chicago Bulls had and said, "Let's just try it at 3
Let's
years
do it.
old."
Let's run it back.
Let's run it back at
poor
3 years.
Sabonis.
Yeah, they're about to
Free-
trade for
free
Vooch, I
Sabonis.
bet.
I like Sabonis. I mean, I like the players on the team. I like DeRozan. I like Sabonis. I like Keegan Murray. I'm sorry, I disrespect him. I like Keegan Murray. I like Malik Monk, but I think you're right. I don't know where this team's going to be going. They feel like a mid team, but yeah, I do think they should tank because of their age. I feel like the difference between the Kings and the Blazers is the Blazers team could only go up with how young they are and the talent they have. The Kings could only go down. Is that crazy?
No, I'm with you on that. I
No.
also think the Blazers have a much better roster. I mean, like,
I
let's
think you
just be
guys are putting a
realistic
lot
with
into
this
the
group.
Blazers' potential roster than what they actually
You have to
been.
do that, though.
Yeah.
We've seen for the past 3-4 years these teams jump ahead
That
of
doesn't
schedule.
mean that they're good.
We saw the
Those guys
Pacers do
could-
it.
they
We
could
saw the
level
Rockets
off.
do it. We saw the. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee. I'm just saying there's more potential there than a team like this Phoenix team or a team like this Kings team.
But they got
Like,
real
why
NBA
are you-
players that
why
are
are you
seen-
saying taking-
Sabonis,
giving
Sabonis
up-
is much better than anybody on the Blazers. I can't put the Blazers.
I'm not
ahead of them.
disputing that. But has the
Well,
bonus
that's what
had
I'm
any
going off
playoff
of. If we're
success?
talking about bad teams, if we're talking about bad teams in the league, I would rather have teams that have NBA players on it than teams who are potential good NBA players.
All right, don't
And
no
that's
no
what the
no no
Blazers
no
are.
no
They
no
got
no no
potential
no
good
no no
NBA
no no
players.
no no no. We are not calling the year Denny Avdia had in the second half. He had potential good
Denny
NBA
Avdia is
player.
good. Is Denny
We're not
Avdia
calling
better
it
than
that.
Sabonis right
Drew
now?
Holiday.
Is he better than
Drew
Sabonis?
Holiday is good.
Is he better than Sabonis? Drew Holiday is he's done. It's over for Drew. That's why he's in Portland. It's over for Drew. It's over for
I think
Dame.
if he stays
Jeremy
in
Grant's
Portland,
always
you're
been
right.
overrated. Robert Williams is never on the floor. Like they don't have.
Shaden
There's
Sharp?
not a lot here. It's a
You
lot of
don't
hope.
like Shaden Sharp?
You guys can buy into hope. That's fine. I'm not buying into it. Shaden
I
Sharp's
will
good.
say,
He's
Jake,
not. Is he a?
Kings,
who
he's
would-
not on a
Kings,
top
or
100.
Kings or Blazers? Who has a better record?
He's not on a top 100. The Kings will.
Oh.
Absolutely. This Blazers team is not good, guys. You're buying into potential way more than I am.
I'm almost ready to make a wager with you on Kings versus Blazers.
Oh, I'm not betting on the Kings or the Blazers. You kidding me?
The
I'm not betting.
33-year-old.
These are the three worst teams in the league, like bar none, in my opinion. Maybe the
All
In
best.
the
right.
league
King
Maybe
should
the
tank.
next.
or the
We agree
Western
on that?
Conference? Don't say the
No,
league.
the league. Jazz,
league?
Kings, Blazers, Nets are the worst teams in the league. Yes.
The league?
Yes. The league.
The Wizards- you think the
National
Wizards
Basketball
are better?
Association. They'll be
You think
fifth.
the Wizards are better? You think the
I don't think the
Hornets?
Blazers are good.
You think
Bro,
the
the Blazers
Hornets
are
are
not
better?
good.
You think the Hornets are better than these teams?
Yes,
You crazy?
yes.
Yes.
The Blazers don't have a good. Yes, they don't have. There is not a good player that you point to and you're like, that's on a title team this year.
I never said there.
Maybe that.
There's a difference.
But you would
between
take
being
LaMelo. You would take
feeders in the
LaMelo.
NBA and the
You
title
would
team.
take LaMelo. You would take Sabonis. You would take Devin Booker. You would take
Brandon
Laurie.
Miller.
You're
Markkanen
naming
on
one
your title team.
player. You're
The
naming
Blazers
one
don't have
player.
one. The Blazers don't have one.
Holiday.
That's my point. No, not Drew Holiday. No, not Dame. They
You're
don't have
you're
one, that guy.
disrespecting Denny Avdia, and it's getting me
He's
upset.
not better than those guys. He's
You're just.
not.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying
That's
1 through
what I'm
5 is
saying.
probably better than 1 through 5 with these teams.
All right,
I
all right.
disagree.
King should tank. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
King
they
should tank.
They should have
They
been
should.
tanking already. I
San
can't believe
Antonio
they traded for
Spurs.
DeRozan and Levine. The Spurs, they got to be a playoff team, right?
I kind of want to say something crazy right now.
I kind of do too.
Oh my
Kind of
god!
do too. Denny.
Again,
Denny and I are-
guys,
Denny and I are in-
we've never
Denny
seen
and I are
Jaden
in
Harden play
lockstep
basketball.
tonight.
baby.
Denny and I are in lockstep tonight,
Yo.
dude. I kind of want Denny to say it
You
first
guys
because I
are-
already argued with Jake.
Man,
I already argued with Jake.
crazy.
Donnie, say something crazy just real quick. Like something just like a little crazy. Like a little
I think
crazy.
the San Antonio Spurs could be a contender, guys.
Oh my god! They're gonna start a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old. They're not a contender, bro.
I don't hate it at all.
They're not
They
a
have
contender.
Wemby.
I
I
don't
love
hate
the
it at all.
Spurs. I love Wemby. They're
If
not a
Wemby's healthy, I
contender.
think this team could be a contender.
That
The
is
only reason-
crazy.
the only
That is
reason I think-
insane.
The only reason I think we can't, or the biggest argument against putting them there, is the fact that we put the Timberwolves in the playoff spot and not the contender.
We also put the
Because-
Mavs in the playoff spot.
Yeah, but that was the Kyrie thing. I think if
Fine.
Kyrie was healthy, that'd be an easy contender. Timberwolves, it just seems disrespectful if I put the Spurs over, but I do really like the young talent on this roster, and I liked what they did this summer, man. And I think Wemby's a shoo-in for Depoy if he doesn't get hurt again, obviously. And I like Fox. I liked what they did at the draft. They brought in my guy Luke Cornett. They brought in my other guy Kelly Olynyk. Like they have a bench now. I don't know.
Genuinely, if they're all healthy, let's get to the second half of the NBA season. The second half of the NBA season, they're all healthy. How many starting fives realistically would you want going forward more than Fox, Castle, Vassell, Harper, Wemby? You could probably put a big in there, Sohan or Barnes. But man, dude, that's a good core. And I get it too. Like, first off, I think De'Aaron Fox is a great basketball player. I want to see him and Wemby fully healthy together because I think it would be a lot of fun. We're talking about the reigning Rookie of the Year in Stephon Castle. And Harper, man, I mean, I think Harper could have a great year too. I really, really like this core. And I think this is a team that might almost kind of like start a little slower, and then the second half of the year you look up and you go, the Spurs have the second best record in the NBA after the All-Star break, something like that, where they might not be a contender right now, but you don't want to see this team come April. Is kind of how I judge the San Antonio Spurs team. You don't want a first-round matchup against them. They could be a 6 or 7 seed, and you want no part of them. So I think it's fair to put them in playoffs, but Dunny, I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy at the end of the year to be like, oh, no, the Spurs have a legitimate shot to win a couple series in the Western Conference. Muted. He's muted. Jake probably muted him. He didn't want to hear this.
I didn't touch that. No,
I really am rusty, boys. Holy shit.
I'm excited about the Spurs. I'm very excited about Wemby. I just don't think you can put him as a contender yet. I think it's a little.
Not yet. No, I agree, but I don't hate that Dunny said it because I kind of had the same thought process of
Wemby.
It could be.
Wemby lived with monks this summer and then trained with Kevin
and Raza Ghul.
And then trained with Kevin Garnett. I don't think people want Wemby with a KG mindset, but they do have to be. This might just lopside our rankings here for the West, but it's tough. I think they do have to be playoffs as well. Contender, I can see it, I can vision it, but playoff team for now for the Spurs. All right, what does that leave us? Just the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, they got it. We've been asking them to tank for years. Danny, what are you doing?
Danny,
bro?
you got to
Figure
tank,
it out.
Bud.
Why is Lauri Markkanen?
No one's giving you 2 firsts for Walker Kessler. You got to fucking tank. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Jazz asking price from the Lakers if they wanted Kessler? Austin Reeves and 2 firsts. Danny Ainge truly hates the.
He might have lost it.
He might have
lost it.
It's the second straight year I love the Jazz's draft too. They got our guy Walter Clayton. They got Ace Bailey when we did. They were like that. Dan's just like, I'm taking him. I don't care if he wants to come to Utah or not. I love the draft they had. It's a young team. I think tank is just gonna kind of happen regardless. They got to trade Lauri, right? They got to get Lauri off this team.
Is this the year that Lauri goes to the Warriors?
Could be.
They have for some reason this team has Yusuf Nurkic too. What am I be doing, Chaz?
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, Kevin Love, Georges Niang, and Yusuf Nurkic are all on this roster, and probably 2 of those 3 guys are gonna get minutes.
I was really hoping you would get stuck with Georges Niang this year. Dude, I really wanted you to have that experience, Dunny. I'm so mad he's on the Jazz.
The fact that I had to deal with losing Kristaps, losing Drew, Tatum Achilles injury, and then see the guy who fucking grabbed Jaylen Brown's knee. And he's from Massachusetts too. But he's just had too many playoffs. He's too out of shit. He's had too many playoff battles with the Celtics. He's too out of shape. He's 32 years old. Like I don't want a guy whose nickname's the minivan. That's not going to solve my Jason Tatum torn Achilles problem. I was so fucking mad for the month and a half that he was on the Celtics. Anyway, Jazz should tank for sure.
Yeah. And I think we just been get rid of your old guys.
Yeah,
I want to see this young guys play. I want to see
me
Filipowski.
too.
I want to see Clayton. I want to see. I know we saw Keontae George, but I want to just see all. I don't want to see any of the old heads in the lineup with them.
You're so right about the draft too. 2 years in a row where like they pretty sure they hit. Like
Yeah.
obviously still too
Filipowski,
soon to
Cody
tell.
Williams, and who
Yeah,
was the third they had? Collier last year.
yeah,
And then this year, Walter Clayton and Ace Bailey, man. I mean,
yeah. And they lost him. He actually ended up on the Celtics, which I'm glad about. But I believe they signed R.J. Luis Jr. from St. John's too, and then
yeah.
he ended up moving on to the Celtics. But I liked that move as well. I mean, they have Kyle Anderson on this team, Mo Bamba.
Dave Kyle. Come on, big guy. I might play this team at 2K. This might be my
is a good
2K team.
It's a good league pass team and a good 2K team.
Yeah.
If you want to hear some positives about the Utah Jazz.
League
All
pass.
right, we started our top 100 last week, guys. That's the Western Conference for you. Actually, let me just close that out for you guys. Contenders, we have Nuggets, Rockets, and Thunder, which is crazy. We only ended with 3 contenders. Some of these playoff teams could
We
easily
could put
be contenders.
Minnesota, I think, contender
Yeah.
safely, and also Dallas was the one I think that we were probably closest on. So
Yeah.
realistically,
4 to
4 or 5,
but
yeah.
we'll see with injuries and stuff. Playoffs, we have Mavericks, Warriors, Clippers, Timberwolves, Spurs. Mid, Lakers, Grizzlies, Pelicans. Yusha, Tank, Suns, Trailblazers, Kings. I think we did pretty well there.
I think that's
A
solid.
little bickering, but that's fine.
That's all I got.
And we started our top 100 last week, guys. We got to 76. Today we are going to give you 75 to 51. And Jake, why don't you start us off?
Devin Vassell from the San Antonio Spurs. Listen, if your Spurs contender thing is going to come true, Vassell needs to take another leap and jump up this list a little bit, especially with the injury to start with Fox. But good young player. He's been really solid for them. And I'm excited to see how he kind of develops over the next couple of years. I think he's going to be even if it's with the Spurs or somebody else down the line, he's going to be a guy that is on the final 8, final 7 of contending teams for his whole career. I think that's just kind of the winning basketball he plays.
Yeah.
74,
Steve.
Dunny. Oh, Steve,
I'll
go
do
for
this
it.
one.
You want me 74? No, Dunny gets 74.
Dunny gets it.
Kristaps Porzingis. Look, man, last year's playoffs sucked, but the Hawks are getting a great player to play alongside Trae Young. Kristaps, you can stretch the floor. Whatever happened in that Knicks series, we'll never know. Some weird illness that really hindered his game, but he looked great this summer playing in the Eurobasket. So Kristaps at 74, I think it makes sense here. You could argue talent-wise a little higher. I think if you put the injury stuff into this, I think it kind of makes sense where he's at there at 74.
Needed Dunny to announce that one because I get to announce this one. 73, Peyton Pritchard, one of our favorite players, I feel like here. Peyton Pritchard has kind of just played above like his skill level. It feels like every year in the NBA. Last year took another step up, and this is really the best opportunity he's going to have with Tatum out, with the Celtics roster kind of being,
Probably
not as deep it's been in the past. Yeah, probably the starting point guard this year, going from 6-man and the best 6-man to a starting guard on a Celtics team. That's a pretty good roster. I love Peyton Pritchard. This is a guy, he's an emotional player. He's a guy who can shoot lights out when he gets hot, and I'm excited to see him in a more prominent role. Pritchard too, Dunny, and you can touch on this a little bit. He's just that type of guy where you don't realize how good of a game he's having until you look up and you go, Peyton Pritchard came off the bench and it's halftime. He's got 14, 4, and 4.
Yeah.
I really like Peyton Pritchard.
Hell yeah. Deserving spot.
Definitely deserve to be up on this top 100. 72, Norm Powell, who, had the best year of his career last year. I don't remember. He's up above 20 points a game, was one of the best scorers in the league for a good stretch there. Definitely belongs on this list. He's a guy who can just go get you a bucket, especially he's a very streaky guy where there can be runs where he's got a couple games, 25 to 30 points in a row. another guy you want on your playoff roster down the line. I've loved the way Norm Powell's career is kind of broken out.
Hell yeah. We have Klay Thompson at 71. Look, disappointing last year with the Mavericks' new team. Kind of got a full offseason to mix in with this group. I think Klay bounces back here. I think 71's fair. I think it would have been a little disrespectful to put him in the list last week. So I think shooing him in right in the top 70 is fair here for Klay.
70, another one of my favorites, Kobe White for the Chicago Bulls. This is another guy that kind of was able to take the reins of the offense, especially, in the second half of last year. Kobe White is just a super athletic guard. He can score 30 sometimes when he wants to, and actually had really, really good chemistry on the Bulls team with Josh Giddey. So I don't know how the Bulls are going to be this year. We always think they're just going to be a mid team, but I think Kobe White's at least going to be fun to watch. And I would not be surprised, guys, if he averages 25 points a game this season.
I would not be surprised either. Up there at 69, Jaden Ivey got free of Monty Williams, had a really nice year with Detroit last year. We were really high on him coming into the pros. So I'm excited to see what he does with another year with this very fun Detroit Pistons roster, and just the way that they play. So we'll see. Jaden Ivey, 69. Dunny.
Wow, I'm just getting all my favorite guys here. Draymond Green, part of that old starting five over there in Golden State. I mean, look, Jake mentioned it when we talked about the Warriors. People kind of wait for Draymond to fall off. The antics off the court never stop with this guy, but he's still doing it. Draymond Green, 68. He's still a good defender. He knows how to play in this Steve Kerr Golden State system, so makes sense.
Yep. 67. I mean, this is falling in perfect place for me. Derek Lively, Mr. 7'3" now. We already know he's a great rim protector. We already know he's got a pretty good offensive bag for a big. He's working on his outside shot. This is a guy that I would not be surprised to see in the top 50 next year or even higher. And one of the most underrated things about Derek Lively, which I really love about him, especially at his age, he's a really, really good passing big. And to have him and Anthony Davis on the same team, and Cooper Flagg, that are three bigs that can all pass. It's going to be a fun season for Mavericks fans. No bias.
No bias. None at all. No bias. Miles Turner, the new Milwaukee Buck, their big signing, had an incredible year last year with the Pacers, an incredible playoff run, how impactful he was alongside Halliburton there. I'm really excited to see what he does next to Giannis this year on the Bucks. Another guy who I think could be higher, like you said, higher on this list next year. He just feels like his skill set as a big fits perfectly next to what Giannis does. So yeah, deserving a 66. Dunny, 65.
65, Jaden McDaniels. This is an interesting one. I don't know if many people who just casually watch basketball would be okay with this. I think they'd kind of be surprised by that. Some people might even ask who Jaden McDaniels is, but he's a very solid wing. He is just a underrated defender, in my opinion. I think he's really good. He averaged almost a steal and a half a game last year, and I believe a block a game. So, just one of those guys who you kind of need to have around stars, and he's a perfect complement to Anthony Edwards. So I think 65 is fair.
64, we got Mr. Drew Holiday, another one of Dunny's favorites. Love that I get to announce all of them. He's a little bit past his prime at this point in his career, but he's still up here for the respect of how good he is on ball defense. And he's developed a really nice corner three. He's very, very deadly from the corner for 3-point range. Really good on-ball defense. Unfortunately for him this year, according to Jake, he's playing for the winless Trailblazers. So hopefully he'll have a good season. But Drew Holiday at 64.
Maybe 21 wins. Lou Dort, definitely going to win more than 21 games this year. Talk about a on-ball defender and just all-around defender. Maybe the best defender in the league. Lou Dort is just a tank. Could be a middle linebacker probably if he wanted to, but he played basketball instead. This guy is only going to get better and better. If he developed any off the any really offensive game, if he was able to handle the ball a little bit, he'd be terrifying. But just in the role that he is, and he's like you talked about with McDaniels a couple spots before, Dunny, a guy who is perfect on a championship level team, and with this roster fits in perfectly. So Lou Dort at 63 feels right to me.
Yeah, wow, really know how to pick them. 62, Tyler Hero, my guy. No, this is tough because talent-wise, offensive efficiency, he's here, right? He's a deserving of a top 62 player in the NBA. The thing that sucks is he's going to miss some decent time to start the season, so maybe he even could have been a little higher on this list, but something Ryan Russillo was touching on a lot last year is just, everyone knows here as a scorer. He can score at all three levels. He can score at the basket, mid-range, three-point shooting. But his shot selection and it almost seems like a bad shot selection sometimes with Hero, but that's how good of a shot maker he is. He really just knows where he's comfortable hitting shots on the court. Like his floaters really come a long way. He can really pick apart the mid-range game, and then, when he gets going from three, it's kind of game over sometimes. So, not the biggest fan, but can't hate on the talent.
61, and I promise we didn't fix the list because
this is crazy.
This is another one of my favorites. Trey Murphy, before his injury last year, had turned into an absolute offensive weapon. This is a guy who can score from anywhere. He's got a good outside shot. He's got a good mid-range shot. He can drive. He's one of the most athletic players in the NBA. He's got length. He's got a giant wingspan. There's not much else I could say about Trey Murphy. I absolutely love this guy. 61. I know it's probably higher than most people have him, but I'm playing with the potential here. And also, I think this is one of the, kind of few players in this, 75 to 50 range where I think he could truly turn into a star and kind of fly up for next year. I won't say a bad thing about Trey Murphy. He's here at 61.
At 60, I got Brandon Miller, another guy who I think could fly up this list and be a star. Had a really, really good year last year, and has all the tools to be an elite scorer in the league, and is going to have every chance to do it again this year. So, yeah, Brandon Miller, really high on him for his potential and what he could do, and just he's going to get the volume with that team. So at 60, could move up, but also it could be he's just stuck here just because of the nature of it. But I have high hopes for Miller going forward. 59. All right, this is a good break. There we go.
Yeah, finally someone that I genuinely like here. Mr. Naz Reid, a fan favorite of all fan favorites. This is just don't even need to say it because it sounds stupid, but I truly was big on Naz Reid in college as well, and it's just kind of exciting to see this is where he ended up. I didn't envision this for him, but it's crazy. He's one of those guys that people review tape of, and they're like, that's how you know that this era of basketball is so much better, or just the skill just keeps improving every year, because imagine throwing a guy like Naz Reid in the 70s. This is a guy who primarily most of his career comes off the bench, and he would just decimate bigs from all those other eras. So just such a skilled guy, really another really important piece of the Timberwolves. Just funny because I mentioned that about Jaden McDaniels at 65, but can't say enough things about Naz Reid. People who don't even know much about basketball get his name tattooed on them. Naz Reid's just the man and deserves to be here.
Once again, another one of my favorites here at 58. This is Herb Jones. Shout out.
Light?
Well, a little different play style, right? Herb Jones is a guy who defense is the name of his game. He can guard 1 through 5 unlike anybody. I think he's the best defender in the NBA, not named Victor Wembanyama, and Wembanyama has a little bit of a size advantage over everybody. But this guy, another just giant wingspan. He is someone who will, you think you have an open three and he'll be sprinting from the paint and block it for you. He's got a little bit offensive. He can shoot the three a little bit, but he's got to develop a little bit more of a bag on the offensive side. But if you're talking about just an on-ball defender who can guard a point guard, guard a center, guard a forward, it's Herb Jones. And once again, another guy I love and another guy I think who could go up, because if he really does improve his offensive game a little bit, we're talking about one of the most well-rounded players in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Josh Giddey at 57. We got two Bulls in here. He got rewarded with his big contract. Really, kind of a surprising year. How much of a improvement he made. I think people were kind of lower on him going into last year. Nah, man, he's a baller. He was able to make plays just for everybody all over the court, and the Bulls are going to give him and Kobe the keys this year, and it's really going to depend on them. So I'm excited to see how they are. But Giddey at one of the better all-around offensive talents. If he could get that shot more consistent, he'd be lethal. But he's very deserved to be 57 here.
Yeah, sneaky Giddey, a little underrated, but so I'm glad we have him at this spot on the list. 56, Aaron Gordon. I mean, look, NBA champion, looking to run it back with this super, super talented Denver Nuggets team that we're really excited about and the moves they made this offseason. I mean, Aaron Gordon, Jokic probably would have ended up getting one anyway, but he's the reason the Nuggets ended up getting over the hump. Like, he's just a great compliment to playing alongside Jokic. So, I mean, Aaron Gordon, in my opinion, probably could have even been a little higher, but this is great. 56, Aaron Gordon.
55 here. The only rookie for us in the top 100 is going to be my guy, Cooper Flagg. Not much else you could say about him. Everyone saw what he did at Duke. I mean, this is a guy who can pretty much play any position 1 through 5. He's got size. He can pass as a big. He can shoot. He can make. He can play defense. His interior defense in college was incredible. That's something I really want to see what he does at the NBA level. But the sky's the limit for Cooper Flagg. Most hyped rookie probably in the past 10 years besides Victor Wembanyama. Can't wait to see what he does in Dallas. He's got probably the best landing spot we've ever seen for a number 1 pick with the amount of hype he had. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid.
54, Brandon Ingram. He should be higher on this list. Not that we should have him higher, but it's like where Brandon Ingram is at in his career. I think everybody thought he would be a lot higher on this. In a weird spot right now with the Raptors. Yeah, I mean, could be way higher after this year. Could fall down this list like Levine, and other players where a lot of potential, needs high volume and is just inconsistent. But right now, I'm fine with him at 54. He can still be one of the best scorers in the league night to night, but we just need to see it more consistently. So that's why he's at 54.
53, New York Knicks, OG Anunoby. Look, this is a guy, and I know OG all too well from a bubble series against the Raptors with the Celtics, and then obviously this past year, the Knicks defeating the Celtics in the playoffs. And OG Anunoby's a scary guy to go against, man. As a fan, and I can't imagine as a player. This is a guy, has kind of perfected the 3-and-D and has a lot more offensive game than just the 3. So, yeah, I mean, not a lot. Jake, I know you're a huge OG guy, always have been. OG's always been a 2K cheat code, so very deserving in the top 53 here.
Finally, not one of my favorite players in the NBA. 52, Paul George. Listen, Paul George, when healthy, when playing, he's one of the best, players in the NBA, one of the best forwards, one of the best scorers. It's just Paul George. We don't know what we're going to get out of him this year. I think we all agree he's trending downward instead of upwards, but we know what Paul George is capable of. This is a guy capable of putting up a 25, 5-and-5 stat line every night. And when you have a guy like that, despite all the question marks coming into the season, you have to kind of respect him. And if we put guys up here like, a Brandon Ingram, you got a Brandon Miller, Paul George is above them still at this point in his career, and I'm curious to see how far down he might fall, or maybe Paul George surprises us and he sips from the fountain of youth a little bit. But we know Paul George at this point, great basketball player, can pretty much do it all on both sides of the court.
And we're going to round it out with one of my least favorite players in the NBA, Rudy Gobert, who's just, I mean, consistently one of the best defenders in basketball, has been for years now. Maybe deserves to be higher on this list, but just the offensive issues remain in his career. They're never going to be that. Rudy is what he is. And I think he's definitely a top 100 player, but I think out of the top 50 at 33, same with Paul George, is perfectly acceptable, especially with some of the names that we'll have left to discuss as we get back into this. But that's tough to fit. We got the top 50 starting next week.
Yeah, we do. That's where it gets controversial. That's where we can get a little more argumentative on that.
You know what's
one.
funny is our arguments we didn't argue about good teams today. We argued about the bad teams. That's
we
what we got passionate about. We really got passionate about.
That's how you know we love ball.
Some of the teams are. Exactly. Yeah. Like we're like, whatever. Like Thunder, we don't
bottom
whatever,
of the barrel NBA.
Dude, it's the only place you'll find it, guys. I promise. We will give as much attention to the Trailblazers this year as we do the Thunder. That's a guarantee.
I mean, we spent much more time on them today, so we're doing good to start. I
forgot to write them down. I was right. I had all the timestamps. We got to the Blazers, and it was just nothing. Like there's just went chaos.
There goes the show.
I just realized we didn't have Dunny Avia in our top 100. I'm sick to my stomach right now.
We did not.
I just realized that now.
He should have been in there.
Yeah, he should have absolutely been in there. Shout out ChatGPT, by the way, for just
Well, now we're gonna fight off air because Denny wasn't in the top 100. So.
Yeah,
we appreciate. Yeah, maybe. Hey, maybe we'll have a
someone's dropping all the
Denny
way
in next week.
See you later.
People are gonna tune in next week, and it's just gonna be Steve on the stream, and he's like, "All right, at number 50, we got Denny."
All right, guys, see you later.
All right, but in any event, that was the Western Conference. Again, contenders: Nuggets, Rockets, Thunder, playoffs: Mavericks, Warriors, Clippers, Wolves, Spurs, Mid, Lakers, Grizzlies, Pelicans. You should tank: Suns, Blazers, Kings. We just gave you 75 through 51, and we will give you 50 to 26 next week. Guys, thank you for listening and watching Happy Hour Hoops, presented by Trainwreck Sports. Remember to follow us at Happy Hour Hoops 1 on all socials. And you guys aren't going to want to miss the top 50, so tune in again next week. Later, guys.
Go Rams.